Hey guys, Suarez Digital here. First off, thank you so much for 214 subscribers. It really means the world to me, and I will continue to make more wholesome content for you all. So I'm finally back after my previous shenanigans. Yeah, good times. Also, I just want to thank my lawyer. She is absolutely the worst lawyer in the history of lawyers. She convinced the judge that a slap on the wrist was a little too merciful for my crime, and she pushed for me to be punished to the highest degree known to mankind, hence why I was gone for a whole month. And while it's not a long time, a lot can happen in a month, especially in video game world. You see, in gaming culture, there's an interesting phenomena that happens whenever a game is released. Within the first hour, gamers beat the entire game, unlock all 12 endings, create very complicated and intrinsic mods, stream over 15 hours of footage, and finally, they upload very thorough and in-depth analysis on YouTube. Again, this is all within the first hour. So by merely playing a game one day later, you're already too late. Fortunately, we don't care about that stuff in this channel. So because I can't afford a PS5 to review the new Final Fantasy VII, I decided I'm going to review the slightly newer, but not that new, Final Fantasy VII on PlayStation 4. I'm not going to lie to you guys, considering how popular this game is, I am very worried about spoilers. But truth be told, I do it to myself. Fun fact, Googling to ask if Final Fantasy VII is going to have the famous and Knuckles mode is in fact going to give you spoilers. By the way, the answer to that question is no. Fantasy is fun because the real world isn't all that fun to begin with. Dinosaurs are extinct and long gone. Humans are too big to ride on dogs, but when we are small enough to do it, we aren't smart enough. Finally, we were born too late to explore the Earth, but too early to explore space, but right on time for dank memes, but too early for extreme memes. However, one thing we can all agree on is that we were born right on time for epic storylines. And these storytellers have the deadly power to make us cry over fictional characters. Over time, the concept of storytelling has made its way into video games. Many games like Kingdom Hearts have over 8 hours of watchable cutscenes. You don't even need to play the games anymore, you can just watch them all online. And if you were to make it into a TV show, that would be a couple hundreds of episodes. Video game storylines have come a long way. At the birth of video games, technology was a limiting factor. Most of the time, stories were described in manuals or on the back of the box. And despite these limitations, those small blurbs were powerful enough to set the foundation for many kids' imaginations. I guarantee you that you probably know someone who wants to do unspeakable things to Samus in a pixelated bikini. The old saying, the less is more, is true in this situation. So, as technology improves, so do the narratives. They evolved from being one paragraph in the manual all the way to rivaling cinematic masterpieces. We initially started with straightforward plots. Super Mario looking for the princess in another castle, Sonic venturing into outer space to stop Eggman's death egg, and many game franchises began creating cinematic masterpieces such as Halo, Mortal Kombat, and the Final Fantasy series. Even Sonic in the early 2000s wanted a piece of that action. Shakespeare only wishes he wrote something as epic as Sonic and Knuckles' storyline. But of course, if you don't own one of these, you can always settle for the next best thing. Oh boy, I hope no one's out there trying to spoil my experience, and it would make me incredibly sad. Unfortunately, with good stories, there are things that ruin them for everyone. The more compelling and complex a story, the more people are willing to spread details about it, whether it's on accident, on purpose, or accidentally on purpose. This just in, a group of people I hate just as much as scalpers. Heads up scalpers, you have found a new worthy opponent. In the past, if you were stuck on a certain part of a game, you'd look it up for a hint or two, and there, you were done. However, in the newer games, it's not that easy. If I wanted to see what Akechi's max stats were, I would unfortunately get someone telling me that it's not worth it because he betrays the party midway through the game. Sometimes, if you really like a character and decide to Google their name, you're going to find spoilers because every other fan is looking for those specific word sets. First your friends, and now AI? You really can't trust anyone, huh, Miku? With technology growing, it's just inevitable. Metrics and algorithms will spoil a lot of things. One of the biggest contributors to spoilers is, wait for it, YouTube. You see, the YouTube algorithm is designed to show you videos you are looking for. If you looked up My Little Pony or Peppa Pig once 10 years ago, the algorithm never forgets. And now if you search up for Final Fantasy II ending, YouTube will bring up the ending to Final Fantasy VII, which also happens to be a game that you haven't played yet. And I totally get it sometimes. Right now, we're at an all-time shortage of PlayStation 5s. And even if you want to buy the game, if you don't own the console, you can't play it. But because the games are so cinematic, many people don't even mind watching the cutscenes online. And like anyone who goes to the movies, what is the first thing you want to do after you finish one? You want to talk about it. But sometimes you're too lazy and you don't want to write a blog or make a YouTube video. What's the next best thing you could do? Oh, I know! You can take a screenshot of a game that will completely spoil it and turn it into a meme. And by doing so, you will spread it all across the internet. Perfect plan, right? This actually happened with Invincible. The last episode had so many memes made from it that people literally saw these scenes before the actual show. And many people argued that it ruined the fun of watching Omni-Man turn evil because they already knew that a fight with Mark was going to happen, all because of these memes. And it's a hard topic to debate as it was those iconic scenes that made many people watch the series to begin with. And how could anyone know that those iconic scenes would become a meme that would become so viral? As sometimes, people make memes for their 1 or 2 Twitter followers only for it to become patient zero for millions of memers worldwide. And meme spoilers aren't restricted to new shows. One of the most meme scenes is when Darth Vader reveals himself to be Luke's father. It's a spoiler that is so ingrained into our society that many of us will never get to feel the same emotional reaction that theater watchers experience upon release. And sometimes when you experience something, you can never re-experience those same emotions ever again. Take Aerith's death for example. Do I cry every time it happens? Of course I do, but unlike the first time, we constantly expect this to happen from here on out. You only experience that shock once. And that's kind of the danger with spoiling the death of a main character. And in many people's second playthrough, they don't even train her altogether. And it would be a different situation if she was a non-playable character. But the fact is, she is playable, and she's a very integral part of the story. With Aerith's death, I was left wondering if she was going to make it or if she was truly dead. I asked myself, would Square Enix really kill off a main character in the first 1/3 of the game? Were there any secrets that would help bring her back to life? Is there a special event that it can trigger to make this happen? And whether or not this was true, we were all left wondering and searching for an answer in hopes to try to revive her and bring her back to our party. And I do believe if this was spoiled to me from the beginning, my reaction would be very different. I would have constantly been expecting her to die at every turn, and when she did finally die, I wouldn't be too shocked because I knew it was going to happen. I can understand that spoilers can happen by accident, but what would happen if someone did go out of their way to spoil things on purpose? This also happens with movies. There are people out there that record entire movies with their phones, but you just get this overexposed, vertical, shaky camera with bad audio footage, and yet people watch it and YouTube doesn't take it down. The trick is to put audience reaction in the title. I'm telling you, if you do this, YouTube literally lets you get away with murder. For some reason, there are people out there that are actively willing to watch low-quality renditions rather than wait for the final release. During the release of Avengers Endgame, I knew I wouldn't be able to see the movie for a whole week due to school and work. When I did log onto YouTube, the first video I saw was Captain Marvel fighting Thanos. The spoiler didn't really bug me because I knew a fight between Captain Marvel and Thanos was inevitable. However, maybe I was just coping because I also did expect Thanos vs. Hulk as a rematch, but that didn't happen. Somehow I did survive a whole week dodging spoilers. I'm glad I did because when I resumed YouTube, my recommendations were filled with videos such as Avengers, everyone returns in the final scene, Tony Stark's death, and Falcon becomes the new Captain America. You wouldn't know it, but sometimes spoilers can come from merchandise. During the release of Godzilla vs. King Kong, there was a lot of buildup with promotions and toys made for the release. However, one of the most notable spoilers was a Mechagodzilla toy that was part of the official toy line. So when YouTube finally did catch up and filled my recommendations with videos of Mechagodzilla vs. King Kong and Godzilla, I wasn't at all surprised. This just confirmed everyone's conclusions that a common villain would be the compromise for both heroic monsters to fight and look heroic themselves. So far, I was able to recover from all of these, but I have one spoiler that has scarred me so deep. Scientists have scoured the earth, but there is no way to possibly clear this hole I have within my heart. It is so deep that even my children's children and their children's children will feel this immense pain. And the cause of this pain is Tails at the end of the Sonic movie being spoiled. I would cry, but there are no tears left as they were all robbed on that very fateful day. There was no way I could have escaped the spoiler. This appeared everywhere on YouTube for me. And unlike the previous 2 spoilers, there was no way I could have guessed this. Tails wasn't part of the main storyline or promotional pieces, and there was no telling that he would actually appear in this movie, nor did we anticipate a sequel at the time. This scene was strictly made as a teaser for the audience that stayed during the final ends of the credits, to confirm the possibility of a sequel. We weren't expecting to see this adorable fox in all of its CGI glory. When I saw that spoiler, I was robbed of that excitement, and I didn't get that anticipation or sense of wonder. And when I sat in that theater with everyone else around me screaming it with hype and enjoyment, I couldn't feel anything. And after all that, I think I'm ready to move on. While I can't go into the past and stop these spoilers from happening, I can make sure to prepare myself for future spoilers ahead. So, with that said, I will enjoy this game blindly. I have disconnected myself from all technology, And I will have a good time doing so, exploring and finding out the new things there are to love about this game. He's alive? Who's he? You mean Zach?